If you've been thinking about moving to Vancouver, Washington, and you don't know these pros and cons, I'm going to give them to you now because I don't want you making the same mistake that other people do without knowing this information before they make the decision to move to Vancouver, Washington. Hey, my name's Jesse. I'm a local real estate agent here in Vancouver, Washington that serves the greater Clark County, Portland, Oregon area when people are buying and selling in this area. If you have any questions about that or moving to Vancouver, please reach out to me. All my information is down in the description of this video and I would love to help. Please like and follow this channel because I come out with videos like this every single week to keep you guys educated and up to date on what's happening here in the local area of Vancouver, Washington. Now let's get into the pros and cons of what it's like to live and move to Vancouver, Washington. First off, Vancouver is a very community-oriented city. This is a city and a town that represents people, and they really care and love and devoted to this city. You will find a lot of civic, religious, and charitable organizations that are all over the city that want to build and buy into the city and give back. So there's tons of activity, there's tons of events and ways to help enrich this entire area that we all love and live here. So people have a big interest of what's going on and they stay focused on what's happening here in Vancouver. Why I think that is because of our proximity to Portland, that there is a slight divide when people they want to be a Vancouver. They want to be part of Vancouver, not just part of Portland. So their identity and what they care for is that in this area to not go across the bridge and not buy into what's happening over there. It's happening here on the north side of the Columbia River. Another pro is it's a great place to raise a family. There are tons of clubs and programs that are designed for kids and for families and adults at the same time. There's parks and they're renovating the parks all across the city right now. So tons of new growth, tons of new parks. There's like Sky Zone and bowling and other stuff and trails and things, all for the kids to do. Lots of sporting events, lots of sport clubs and recreation centers, all to get families out into the city and really to get them active and being part of the community. The biggest con for this area is going to be the weather. It does rain. We're in the Pacific Northwest, so we get a ton of rain here. We're notorious for it. We average about 182 days of rain every single year, so about half the year there is some form of rain happening on those days. But it's not like other rainstorms around the country and the nation where there's monsoons and big rains. A lot of times it's just sprinkling and light drizzling almost all day. So the amount of rainfall is actually smaller than a lot of other cities around the nation, but it's the frequency of the rain and the frequency of the gray skies and the clouds that's happening a lot of the time here in Vancouver, Washington. Another big con is going to be the homelessness and the poverty happening here in Vancouver and the surrounding area. There are a lot of factors that go into this. I don't really have time to get into all that, and there's a lot of cause that's a big issue going on. But what I'm seeing is there's a lot of overflow happening from Portland right now, and they're coming up the freeways and kind of infiltrating into the city. So that is definitely happening, and we're seeing more populations of the homelessness here in Vancouver, but they are more on the highways and the exits and those roads connecting that are right next to the freeways and along downtown corridors and areas down there and parks and things. They are here and it is happening, but that is also a national crisis that is definitely happening all across the area right now, and it is affecting Vancouver as well. One of the third pros is actually going to be how pet friendly this city is. We have multiple dog runs and dog parks all across the city. Some are really big and some are more smaller. They're all off-leash parks, and you have tons of opportunity to get your dog out and get that's exercise and running. A lot of restaurants also have pet-friendly patios and decks and stuff, so you can definitely take your furry friend out and explore the city with them. Another pro about living in Vancouver or just Washington state as a whole is the financials of it all. This state has no income tax, so that is really good for a lot of the population that lives and works here in Washington. You're not getting that income tax taken off your paycheck right away. There are sales tax, so anything you buy here in the state is getting taxed. But with Oregon and Portland being so close, and Oregon having an income tax, it is financially responsible, especially for like retired people or other communities, to live in Washington state and not get taxed those Oregon taxes if they're also working here in Washington. But the con of the financials is our sales tax is a little bit higher than the national average. Our sales tax is about 8.4%, and the national average, I believe, is right around that 7.2%. So we're just a little over a point above the national average of sales tax. But with major purchases, you can go across the river and you can go buy things on Airport Way or Hayden Island, Jansen Beach, and other things like that, and avoid those big sales taxes. Bigger purchases like cars and other stuff like that, you're still going to get that sales tax because it goes off your address in your home, not where you're buying it. Another big pro that I talk about all the time is the growth happening here in Vancouver. It is constantly expanding, constantly moving, constantly pushing into the other towns and the other areas around it. It is the 5th largest city in Washington, and I predict that I could see in the next 5 to 10 years we skipping other cities ahead of us and just becoming that bigger of a destination in Washington state. The Vancouver waterfront and all the downtown growth and building and expansion is proof that this is a healthy economy here in Vancouver, and the people want more growth and more stuff to do here in Vancouver. But then that's another pro, that there is a lot to do here, living here in Vancouver, Washington. In any direction, you could drive about an hour, hour and a half, and be in a completely different area. If you head north, then you can get to Mount St. Helens, you can get to the reservoirs and the lakes, or you can get out to the woods or another city, and you're almost to Olympia at that point. If you go east, you can get out to the gorge, which is an amazing view and an amazing drive down Highway 14, and all the wind and all the water sports and all the breweries and all the things that are out there in the gorge. If you go south, you can get past Portland and down more into the valley and into more farms and rural and like Salem and other areas down there. And if you go west, you can get to the coast very, very quickly. All these can be done with a day trip down and back, while Vancouver being your home base. That is everything that you can do just outside the city, let alone what's happening inside the city. We have a big and growing brewing scene, so tons of breweries, tons of beer, really award-winning breweries here, lots of good wineries. There is lots of activities for families and adults to do, lots of cool games. There is tons of community events, especially during the summer. There's constantly concerts and movies in the park and other things like that. The casino, A&A, is in Ridgefield. So there is so much activity, so much stuff to do happening here in Vancouver that you are not going to get bored anytime soon if you decide to move here. The other thing about living in Vancouver or just the Pacific Northwest is just how beautiful it is here in this area. It's constantly green and lush. The summers are beautiful, the skies, the mountains, so many just views of natural beauty, just waterfalls, all types of stuff around here. It's really easy to bypass and not get used to it a little bit. But even just looking at the Columbia River or Vancouver Lake and some views that you get to see, it's amazing, and it's a wonderful place to live, raise a family, or just just live and be you here in the great state of Washington and the great city of Vancouver, Washington. The last pro that I have about living here is the proximity to Portland. If we are lacking in restaurants or in nightlife entertainment or whatever it may be that your list on, and you don't want to live in the suburbs, you can take full advantage of Portland, Oregon and everything they have to offer without living there, because it's literally a 10-15 minute drive and you're in any different pocket of Portland and you get to experience everything that they have to offer: their strip clubs, their bars, their sports teams, their nightlife, their parks. Anything you want, you can go do for a day and then come back into Vancouver and come back home where it's a little more quiet, a little more friendly, and you get to just relax a little bit more, but you still get to enjoy everything that the amazing city of Portland has to offer. But the downside of that is driving into Portland. There's only two ways. It's the two highways, the two bridges, the I-5 or the 205 bridge, and those get backed up a lot of time because they're funneling everything from Washington State down to Oregon State. So it does get backed up, and it can take a little while longer than the 15-minute drive that it should take with no traffic. But if that is the price to pay for living in a great city and being access to even a bigger city, then that is a great price to pay, in my opinion. If you have any questions about what it's like living here in Vancouver, Washington, please reach out to me. All my information is down in the description of this video. I hope this video helped you a ton, and I can't wait to help you become a resident here in Vancouver, Washington. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, because I come out with videos like this every single week. And until then, I will see you in the next one.